what I can do to propagate my Arya Samaj. Namaste, my fellow souls. First and foremost, I must realize that our Arya Samaj is at the cutting edge of religious or spiritual beliefs and practices. In fact, we are far ahead of any other religion, primarily because we have been evolved to fit into these modern times, yet have kept true to the ancient sacred teachings of the Vedas, the Upanishads, and our other scriptures. We have evolved past many of the beliefs and rituals which no longer apply to these modern times. The teachings of the Vedas are so suited to this modern age. Our Havan, Sandhya, and mantras from our Vedas makes even more sense in these times, and their teachings can be connected to the reality of everyday life. Yet, the failure, our failure, my own failure to propagate the Arya Samaj is puzzling and quite a dilemma, as witnessed by attendance to our mandirs, sammelans, etc. What can I do to propagate our Arya Samaj? There are many things which I can do. The great Maharishi Swami Dayanand Swaraswati explained away and rejected many of the practices and rituals which no longer made sense, or those which could not be explained. I have to ensure that I do not allow these rituals and practices back into the fold. I have to make sure that I do not again include these mystical motions and practices which I cannot explain to others, just because I want to make an impression or to put on a good show. I must realize that as an Aryan and as a leader of society, I cannot live a hypocritical life. First, I have to live my mantras from the Vedas and only then preach those mantras. I must lead by example. I cannot preach the mantras without first living them. Why would my own children want to follow me if they see me putting on a show of piousness for the public? Then inside my own home, I live the opposite. I drink alcohol, I am rude to my wife and children, I lose my temper, I secretly smoke, and is addicted to some kind of drug. I have to live the life of a true, honest, respectable person of integrity and honor, in private and in public, if I am going to assume the position of one of our leaders. I have to realize that in the eyes of society, my actions are magnified. I have to live my life as if I live in a house of glass, with no secrets and nothing to hide. Another great teaching of Swami Dayanand Swaraswati was that he made the idea of class and caste meaningless. I have to behave in such a humble way that I do not treat anyone else as if they exist at some lower class. When among others, I must mingle with all, speak to all, learn from all, and not set some invisible barrier between myself and any other, regardless if it is the person cleaning the toilet, sweeping the floor, or delivering the pravachan. I cannot live my life constantly feeding my ego. I cannot live my life in a way that in every act, in everything I do, it is all about me. I must focus on conquering the ego. There are so many of our mantras which teaches us to conquer the ego, to become humble, to become pure of thought and character. Swami Dayanand Swaraswati preached and fought for the equality of women, that our mothers, sisters, and daughters be treated with love, respect, and equal status in society. I must recognize the truth in this and treat all our mothers, sisters, and daughters as my own equal, and not as if they are somehow not deserving of that equal status in our mandirs and organizations. They must be represented equally. Our organizations, be it the mandir or another higher Arya Samaj organization, consists of many executive members. I believe that about a third of these members should be not delegated, but elected by our people from, I would say, the 18 to 30-year-old of the younger generation, the next leaders being groomed to take the lead. When this happens, they in turn will encourage their peers, their friends and families to join and come to our mandirs and be involved in Aryan activities. We have to give them control, yet be there to give a gentle diplomatic guiding hand and words of advice and wisdom when it becomes necessary. I have to make sure that when I perform the Havan and Sandhya, that I find that flow and rhythm clearly and correctly pronounced and establish that peaceness without dragging the mantras so slowly that by the end of Sandhya and Havan, everyone is bored and have no more patience for the pravachan teaching the wisdom of the Vedas. In this world of even more distractions like Facebook, smartphones, and texting, I have to be conscious of the patience of others. In special meditation groups for those who are more advanced, we can then practice quietness and patience at leisure. What we have now is that by the end of Havan, everyone is tired, sitting, hungry and restless, and many would not want to come to Mandir again. In their state of mind, they have no patience for prolonging the Mandir session. In my pravachan, I have to realize and behave and present myself in a manner which shows that it is not about the importance of the messenger, but the importance of the message. Who I am, what is my name, how many books I have written, and how important I am means nothing. We have shown that some rituals makes no sense anymore and have stopped doing these. We believe in a God who is here, there, and everywhere. We do not pray to a God who is someplace far away in a heaven someplace. But we have to also be tolerant. I have to be tolerant to those who still wants to pray to the stone and the bush, and for those who sings bhajans which pay reverence to that which we do not believe in. I have to be tolerant and realize that they are praying, acting, and doing what they are doing at their level of thinking, and God did not give me the authority to judge. If I cannot have patience with those who we are trying to teach, what kind of teacher does that make me? How many times have you heard someone say, you cannot sing that in our mandir, it is not an Arya Samaj bhajan, or that is not an Arya Samaj prayer? A prayer is understood at the level of the thinker, is it not? Instead, we find ourselves criticizing that is not Arya Samaj and this is not Arya Samaj. And we become well known for only criticizing and not trying to learn and understand. I should always try to learn and understand, then lead by example, not criticize, and welcome all with open arms, not push them away. I must remember that when I push one away by influence, I may be pushing 10 others away. And if I were to openly welcome one with open arms, chances are that by influence, I may be welcoming 10 others with open arms. Instead of being one of those who, for selfish and reasons of ego, choose to build walls instead of bridges between us, I shall be one of those who seek to foster love, respect, cooperation. If I do this, then divisions between the entities of the Arya Samaj, between mandirs and groups, will cease. When we have conferences, when we have semmélans, there will be more participation and a more brotherly, sisterly atmosphere instead of one of competition. If we keep doing as we are doing, we will continue to get what we have been getting. There are so many ways in which I can propagate my Arya Samaj. It is time to start. It is not just the Arya Samaj. It is my Arya Samaj. It is your Arya Samaj. My love and respects to all my brothers and sisters. Namaste.